we got the Fluffy Hat. Costs 250 gold, grants 125 health. This builds into items. It builds into the Falcon Blade, which requires Fluffy Hat. What an awful name. I mean, it's a great name. Sage's Mask, Blades of Attack, and a gold recipe. What I will say about this item is it is a cool balance between health, mana regen, and damage. My only question is what hero wants to buy this early on into the game? I don't really know. I can't honestly think of any. You might be saying like Storm, but honestly I don't want to buy a Falcon Blade. I really want to start working towards my Orchid or my Kaya or my Bloodstone, so I don't really know. Then we got Orb of Destruction, requires Blightstone, Orb of Venom, and a Fluffy Hat. This one seems a lot more reasonable. Kind of a cool item. It gives you the effects of Blightstone, it gives you the effects of Orb of Venom and 150 HP, which is a little bit more than Fluffy Hat. Very cool. I've been seeing a couple heroes buy this. I saw at Miracle buy it on Ember Spirit because Sleight of Fist then will apply the slow from Orb of Venom and the armor reduction onto every hero that gets hit with Sleight of Fist. So yeah, that's definitely a cool one. I see quite a bit of viability there. I think there's a couple of other heroes that can make this item work. Maybe like PA, if you're winning your lane, you can pick this up. Makes you pretty tanky, gives you a lot of damage. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a viable item on certain heroes. Witchblade requires Blitz Knuckles, Chainmail, Row of the Magi, and a 600 gold recipe. Frankly, these items are such an awful build-up. Like, it grants 35 attack speed, 12 int, 6 armor, and 300 projectile speed. Has a 9-second passive cooldown that procs an attack, applying a curse for 3 seconds that slows by 25% and deals your int as damage every second. I frankly wouldn't be surprised if there isn't a single hero that buys this. The only hero that comes to mind, like directly comes to mind, is maybe OD. But even then, this item gives you no defensive capabilities, it's not a particularly large amount of damage, and the passive is very cheesy. So frankly, I don't like this item at all. Then we have Glech. Requires Maelstrom, Rod of Atos, and a 700 gold recipe. Yeah, so it's kind of like Mjolnir, but it has a root. It provides damage, int, strength, agility. I've been seeing people buy it, like I saw some sniper buy it, and yeah, I mean, it's cool. I guess it roots people, but, and it does chain lightning procs. It's just another one of those items where it just feels weird. It feels random. I legitimately can't think of a hero that would buy this. Because, like, most heroes that buy Atos aren't buying right-click items, you know? Like, you typically wouldn't ever have... Like, think of the last game, because this is often how I make, like, my thought process around whether or not it's a good item. Think of the last game where you bought a Maelstrom and a Rod of Atos. Not even you, okay? Anyone has done that. Who has done that? When is the last game you've done that? Probably never, because it doesn't make much sense. Maybe Mirana, I don't know. I don't get this item. Mage Slayer, another item. Frankly, I'm not gonna lie, guys. Most of these items, I just don't get. They seem out of place. They seem rushed. I'm not trying to, like, flame Ice Frog. I'm just giving my opinion on the item so that you don't just grief your games. Requires, well, I guess I am flaming Ice Frog a little bit. I don't, like, this item makes no sense to me. I hope I'm proven wrong. I genuinely do. I'm just, like, looking at the item. I'm trying to justify it in my mind, and I just don't see it. But okay, Mage Slayer requires Cloak, Blade of Alacrity, and Claymore, and a 600 gold recipe. Once again, very weird items. To be fair, I could see, you know, squishy Agicores buying this. You know, Magic Resist is legit on those heroes. It gives you 20% Magic Resist, 20 Agility, 20 damage, and causes your attacks to place a 35% Spell Amp debuff on heroes. That's the weird part. 35% Spell Amp debuff for a right-click item. It's kind of weird. Eternal Shroud requires Hooded Defiance, Voodoo Mask, once again, kind of weird, and a 1100 gold recipe. HP regen, hero lifesteal, creep lifesteal, can be activated to create a shield that absorbs up to 400 magical damage and converts it to mana. Like, who needs that? Who? Bristleback? You might be like, oh, Bristleback. Bristleback, he likes Voodoo Mask. That Voodoo Mask Bristleback build is so questionable. I feel like I'm being so pessimistic, but it's like, even this item... this one I did read, okay? So most of these I haven't read coming up to this. I have played a bunch of pubs before reading this. But nonetheless, like, Helmet of Dominator 2, because that's what this is. Helmet of Dominator can now be upgraded to level 2 by buying an Ultimate Orb and a 1600 recipe. Here, 1600! Allows converting Ancients, which is essentially useless. Ancients are not that good. They're just not. Like, they're not bad, but for, what, 3,000 and... 700 gold, you know, combining the Ultimate Orb and recipe. Minimum health is increased to 1800. increases stat, armor, HP regen bonuses from 666 to 28.8. And it's like, oh, you get a really tanky creep. I mean, yeah, I guess, like late game, it helps Lycan have some scaling. Maybe that was the idea behind this item, which I can respect. You're never going to really rush this item, but late game, Helmet of the Dominator, certain heroes wouldn't want to get rid of it, like Lycan. If he was to buy it, honestly, this item's pretty unpopular as is. I'm surprised they didn't change it at all. Or buff it, or, you know, yeah, buff it. But, guess it gives it an upgrade option. That's the same thing with Blink Daggers. I think the reason why they put these blinks in the game is for late game options, because you're never going to rush any of these items. If you rush one of these items, you're out of your mind. Never, ever, 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 ever rush one of these items. They're not meant to be rushed. Once again, could I be proven wrong? Yes, but I've read the items, and they don't seem like items you would rush. They are way too expensive. They have extremely meh build-up. Anytime an item has a Reaver and a gold recipe, you know it's probably not meant to be rushed. But basically, these items, so the strength one, it grants you strength when you land at a destination. All enemies in an 800 AoE, which is a lot, have 50% movement speed slow, 50 attack slow for 6 seconds, and take equal damage. And frankly, that is very strong. I think out of all of them, I'm the biggest fan out of this one because, well, actually, the Arcane Blink is solid too. They're good late game. I'll be honest, they're all pretty good late game. But overwhelming Blink, like 50 attack speed and movement speed slow is really high. It's really, really high. So late game, and it's for 6 seconds. Like that's a whew. Okay, then Swift Blink. It requires Eagle Song and our gold recipe. Gives you agility. When you land at your destination, you gain 30% phase movement speed, 40 damage, and 40 attack speed. So yeah, just gives you some right-clicking buffs. And then Arcane Blink, this one I like probably the second most. Grants you 25% intelligence. When you land at your destination, you gain 50% cast point, which is pretty cool. Cast your spells a little bit faster. 25% ability cooldown reduction. I don't know why they worded it like that. Weird. For 6 seconds. So yeah, it's pretty cool. You get cooldown reduction after you blink. Wind Waker requires Yule's Mystic Staff and a gold recipe. Grants 50 movement speed, 6 mana regen, 35 intelligence, and extends the Cyclone functionality to allow casting on allies. When cast on yourself, you can move the tornado anywhere at a speed of 360. No scope. So yeah, I mean, it's a cool item. It can save teammates late game. And once again, I think what they're trying to do is give certain items that a lot of heroes wouldn't want to trade out. Let's say Lina, right? Lina wants to keep her Yules, but at the same time, it's like, let's say it goes late game, you kind of would want to trade it out, right? But now you can kind of keep it, and it has other functionalities. Cool. Balance changes. Aether Lens. Mana reduced from 450 to 300. So yeah, a lot of heroes are rushing Aether Lens. It makes sense. Pugna, Rubik. Frankly, like any position 4 that's like an int hero was buying this item. And a lot of mid laners too, like Zeus, and actually no, I don't know. I guess it's just Zeus. Soul Booster no longer grants 10% magic resist. Rest in peace. I loved it. I love this so much. Octarine Core no longer grants magic resist. No longer has a 900 gold recipe. Now requires Aether Lens instead of Voodoo Mask, with respective Aether Lens bonuses. I mean, frankly, this one's pretty cool. I actually kind of like this. It's like for heroes like Skywrath or maybe like OD who could benefit from the Aether, right? Now, hey, they don't get 10% magic resist, but they do get to build an Aether Lens into that item, which can allow you to essentially rush an Octarine Core. You are a glass cannon to some extent. You know, it gives HP, but still, no disengage, so, you know, it's a cool item nonetheless. It doesn't provide spell lifesteal, but who cares? Spell lifesteal tends to be irrelevant. No longer grants 10%, okay, now requires a Voodoo Mask, and now grants 15% lifesteal. Not a fan of this. This is definitely, in my opinion, a nerf. Echo Saber, a huge mana regen increase. That's a lot, an extra 1. It's really big for the early game. Silver Edge now requires an Oblivion Staff instead of Echo Saber. Echo Saber still can be disassembled, okay. Bonuses change from 45 attack speed, 40 damage, 12 strength, 10 int, 1.5 mana regen, and 45 attack speed with 40 damage and 10 int and 3 mana regen. So basically, you get the same attack speed, the same damage, no strength, which kind of sucks. You get the same amount of int, but you get a lot more mana regen. So, kind of questionable. However, okay, so this is how they actually buffed it. So you don't get the strength, which is a bummer, but the total cost is 500 cheaper, and the cooldown is 18, which is quite a big buff. Shadow Blade, it's a 28-second cooldown, so the big advantage here to Silver Edge is the fact that this item is an 18-second cooldown, 10 seconds less. That's actually a huge number. So, yeah, I think that's, like, the big thing for Silver Edge. It's definitely much better now to actually upgrade, even on heroes that don't benefit directly from, like, the Oblivion Staff. Ring of Tarask removed! removed. A lot of people were buying this casually. Funny enough. Heart of Tarask no longer uses Ring of Tarask. Recipe cost increased from 650 to 900. Bonus HP reduced. Bonus strength increased, however. HP regen increased to 1.6% and no longer has out of combat regen. So kind of what I'm seeing here is that Heart of Tarask is once again not a good item. Holy Locket. Recipe updated. Now automatically gains a charge every 15 seconds. Okay, that's cool. I like that. Now it requires a fluffy hat and a headdress instead of using Ring of Tarask. That's actually definitely a buff, you know? Because you can actually build into those items, right? Casual fluffy hat, then you get a Ring of Regen. That makes a lot more sense. That's I would say definitely a bigger buff. And the recipe cost was reduced, which is, yeah, so that's definitely a huge buff in my opinion. Now it provides 3 HP regen aura instead of personal 4.5 health regen. I think this is, yeah, this item is much better now. Satanic. No longer is an 800 gold recipe. No longer provides status resist. Whoa! Damage increased from 25 to 45. Unholy Rage duration. Ooh, okay, so it's cheaper, I'm guessing, right? If I'm not mistaken. So basically, Satanic is much more of a DPS item now. Sange and its upgrade status resist don't stack with each other. It's kind of a bummer. Recipe cost reduced from 400 to 200. Regen amp reduced and status resist reduced. Jeez. This is kind of tough. I'd rather pay the 200 gold, I think. Kaya and Sange. Oh, this is how they're buffing these garbage items. So yeah, no one really buys these items, right? Basically no one. I mean, Sange and Yasha some people buy. Kaya and Sange, this item is essentially irrelevant. However, they're basically saying, hey, you want some status resist? This is the only way you're gonna get it. So yeah, I mean, hey, I guess it does make these items a little valuable, but considering Satanic can't be stacked on top, well, I don't think it's that good. Health reduced on Scotty and mana reduced. Okay, that's pretty irrelevant. Drums. Charge count increased from 6 to 8. By the way, probably going to tweet about this, but I think this item is potentially broken. So the charge count was increased from 6 to 8. It now requires Windlace, Robe of the Magi, Belt of Strength. So you might be saying speed, but this buildup is hot garbage. Yep, it is hot garbage, but what I will say is that the 550 gold recipe is really cheap. And so although drums might not be, you know, some great buildup item, right? It's not good buildup. Like, Robe of Magi, Belt of Strength is just not that good. It's not a wand or, you know, raindrops, right? Or even Sage's Mask. It's not those items. It's bad. But what I will say is that this item is active, 45 attack speed to all your teammates, 13% movement speed, and a 20 movement speed aura, in my opinion, is super strong. Also, you get 8 charges now. Why is that significant besides the fact that it's 2 more charges? Well, yeah, it's 2 more charges, but the recipe is only 550 gold, which is pretty cheap, and it gives you 8 more charges to rebuy the recipe. So essentially, if you buy drums, just use it off cooldown. Not literally, but yeah, you can use it to farm. You can use it to push every single tower. You can use it in every engagement for every pickoff, and you don't have to feel bad about it because it's an 8 charges, and you can rebuy 8 for 550 gold. So keep that in mind. Boots of Travels, upon equipping, automatically sells TP scrolls that you have and grants you 1 charge. This applies to Meeple clones. Very cool. Mask of Madness, damage reduced. Okay. Abyssal Blade, Overwhelm active. Now also triggers the Bash passive cooldown. So basically, you can't Abyssal Blade someone and then bash them right after. You can't chain stun them, which is quite a big nerf, actually. Blade Melt, recipe cost increased from 500 to 675, so I guess it's just a nerf. Maybe they changed a different item. Glimmer Cape now requires 450 gold recipe instead of Gloves of Haste, which is a bit of a bummer. It also no longer gives 20 attack speed, so definitely a nerf to Glimmer Cape. But to be fair, everyone bought this item, rightfully so. Even cores were buying Glimmer Cape, and yeah, I think they should have been. So Necromonicon, cooldown reduced from 90 to 80. That's a big buff, so Lycan. Beastmaster, hey. Hey. Archer Warrior now has a movement speed aura, so hey. Big buffs to Necromonicon. 10-second cooldown is huge, and a movement speed aura. And guys, movement speed auras are always a big deal in Dota. You know this, right? We talk about this all the time. Movement speed is a underrated thing. I'm trying to make it not underrated. Understand that movement speed is a big deal. Javelin, proc chance increased from 25% to 30%, and proc damage reduced from 80 to 70. Okay, that's pretty unconsequential. Demon Edge, damage reduced by 2, no! Monkey King Bar, damage reduced by 2, recipe increased, proc damage reduced, magic damage procs on attacks no longer work with lifesteal. So basically what I'm seeing here is Monkey King Bar just got shafted. Maelstrom, proc chance increased from 25 to 30%. Desolator, damage reduced by 5, Divine Rapier, damage reduced by 30, Armlet, Unholy Strength, active bonus. Sure, you get a little bit more damage, 40, and the health drain is reduced, so nice. Little armlet buffs. Hooded Defiance, magic resistance reduced from 25% to 20%. No longer has a recipe, so seems like a bit of a buff. However, it is, 5% less. So, I don't know. This item, I would say, considering you can get it earlier on, I would say this is probably a buff. Pipe of Insight. The recipe cost was just straight up increased. That's okay. Vladimir's. Now also requires a buckler. Gives 3 armor aura. Mana regen reduced from 2 to 1.4. Mechanism. Requires chain... Oh, okay, it's the same thing. Guardian Greaves. Now also requires a buckler. Okay, that's the same thing. Melee damage reduced on Quelling Blade by 2. What the? Orb of Venom cost reduced from 300 to 275 with 2% slow. Less slow. I feel like that's kind of a buff. Does that 2% make the difference in some cases? Yeah, it probably does, but I don't know. Maybe it's a buff. It's close. Ring of Regen. HP reduced from 1.5 to 1.25. That kind of hurts people who were casually buying this item. However, Sage's Mask was increased by 0.1. Enchanted Mango. Mana restored. Decreased by 10. Okay, sure. Voodoo Mask cost reduced from 900 to 700. And the Spell Lifesteal, however, was reduced as well. So this item, I actually think it's really good right now. I'm kidding. This item is so bad. If you buy this item in my pub, I will run down mid. Medallion of Courage. Mana regen increase from 1.25 to 1.5. Duration cooldown increased. So basically it lasts longer. You can't keep switching up the target, which is a bit worse for farming, to be honest. But it's okay in team fights. Makes you have to focus less. Mana regen increased from okay. Mana regen. What? Whoa! Why is that such a big nerf to Yules? Jeez, was Yules even that good? I mean, good lord. Why 1.5 mana regen less? That's such a huge nerf. Vanguard can now be disassembled. Oh, that's actually pretty practical, I think, because you can turn it into a hard late game. Crimson Guard. Active damage blocked values increased from 60 to 70. Nice. No longer ignores Ancient Creeps. Alright, so Radiance can be used to stack Ancient Creeps. Very cool. Refresher Orb, mana cost reduced. That's actually a big buff, and the cooldown was reduced. So big Refresher Orb buffs. This is a big thing, because for a lot of heroes, you can't buy Refresher because you'd run out of mana, but this gives you a bit of wiggle room. Dagon now requires Staff of Wizardry, Crown, and 300 gold recipe, 1300 gold recipe. Grants a lot of int, and a good amount of strength and agility. Claymore, bonus damage reduced, cost reduced. Nice. Nullifier, projectile speed increased. Nice. Shiva's Guard, less recipe cost. Nice. Reaver, cost reduced from 3,000 to 2,800. Okay. Eagle Song, cost reduced from 3,000 to 2,800. They just wanted to make these the same, which is kind of weird because, believe it or not, this is a huge buff to Thompson and his E-Blade builds because it's 200 gold less now. And E-Blade's the same. So, yeah, his E-Blade build is just, I guess, even more meta now. I feel like a lot of people are going to be doing it. Neutral items. Oh, God. Fairy's Trinket. So, yeah, these are tier 1 neutral items, by the way. These are the ones that start dropping a minute 7. 100 health, 5 spell lamp, and reduces mana cost by 5%. This item is definitely very viable on a lot of spellcasters. Chip Vest. Nah, I mean, it's okay. It gives HP regen, which for some heroes can be very nice. For a hero like PA or Spectre, if you pick this up early on into the game, it allows you to farm, gives you that sustain you want. Definitely good on Spectre, and it returns damage to heroes and creeps, so definitely like a Spectre or like an offlaner type of item, like a Centaur or an Axe item. Possessed Mask. This item I definitely like. It's good on strength heroes because it gives them a lot of HP, gives them 140 HP. It's good on agi heroes because it gives them, agi, attack speed, and 1 armor, and 7% lifesteal, but not really. I wouldn't say this is much of an int item. It's more of a strength or an agi item. Cycled out. Mango, PMS. Oh, well. Rip to PMS and Iron Talon, they are once again dead. They just can't hang in there. Balance changes. Arcane Ring, increased cooldown, sorry. Ironwood Tree, active cooldown increase. So rip to Timber Saw, taking Ironwood Trees and zipping all over the place. Guess you can't do that. I suppose they just didn't like that was a thing. I don't know. This is actually quite a Timber nerf, funny enough. Quicksilver Amulet. 30% attack animation projectile speed. Alright. 5% movement speed and 10 attack speed. Alright, so you get movement speed. That already makes this item pretty good. If any of your abilities are on cooldown, you gain an additional 5 movement speed and 15 attack speed. That sounds really strong. Imagine playing Invoker and you cast all your spells, you're going to be zooming. And you have a lot of attack. That's legit. I like this item. Bullwhip. Oh god. It's a whip. 3 HP regen and 3 mana regen can be cast on allies to grant them 16% movement speed for 5 seconds. That's actually a lot. Wow, that's kind of messed up though. You're going to whip your own teammates? I mean, alright, I feel like if I whipped my friends, they wouldn't run at 16% higher movement speed for 5 seconds, but I'll have to try it out. Or you can use it on opponents to slow them by 16% movement speed by 5 seconds. Has a large cast range and a low cooldown, so pretty legit item too. You know, buff up your carries. Cycled out Clumsy Nut, rip, that's a strong item. Vampire Fangs, also rip, pretty strong item. Balance changes, M-Claw cooldown reduced, so that's a buffed M-Claw. I feel like this item was pretty good though. Essence Ring, health reduced, okay, whatever. Elven Tunic! Grants 26 attack speed, 16 evasion, and 8% movement speed. Definitely very good on a lot of carries, you know, especially against, right-click teams for that evasion. Cloak of Flames, dude, this is like Dark Souls. All these items like give me I've never even played Dark Souls, but it's like Dark Souls. Grants 5 armor, 10% magic resist, and passive emulation aura, dealing 45 damage per second in AoE. That's kind of a lot. Is this a tier 3 item though? Yeah, for a tier 3 item, that's pretty meh. Not gonna lie, this item seems kind of. The 10% magic resist is like alright, but nah, not a fan. Ceremonial Robe. Grants 350 mana. Enemies have 10% status resistance reduction, I'm guessing that means, and 10% magic resist reduction, so that's actually strong, you know, that's a huge AoE, so yeah, that seems pretty legit. Just carry it on some tanky hero, why not? Psychic Headband, 12% intelligence, alright, that's good for some heroes, you know, like the Storms and the Skies. 100 cast range, alright, this is really good on some spellcasters, for sure. Activate to push the target enemy 400 distance away from you. Alright, that's super legit for spellcasters. Like, you know, it allows them to stay far back, gives them int, and push away the backline heroes like the PAs. That's definitely very strong. Repair Kit removed. Hallelujah. Craggy Coat removed. Okay, another kind of weird item. Greater Fairy Fire. I can never remember to use this item, so nice. Thank God they removed it. Balance changes. Telescope moved to tier 4. I think this makes sense. This is definitely one of the better items. If you found it on the ground, you basically had to carry it on someone, it felt like. Quickening Charm. Cool. Okay, very cool. Like, who comes up with this? What was the reason for this? Tier 4 items. Penta Edge Sword. I actually haven't seen this one yet. Provides 45 damage, 80 melee attack range, that's high, and a 20% chance to maim enemies, reducing their movement speed by 20% and attack speed by 60 for 3 seconds. Alright, it's a good mana item for sure. I like it, you know, it's strong. Storm Grafter. Storm Spirit. Grants 4 battle regen, zaps enemies within a 700 range of you every 3 seconds, dealing 200 magic damage, I'm guessing, and slowing by 40%. Can be activated to cyclone yourself for 0.75 seconds. I'm guessing that purges as well, right? It's like the Eul's. Alright. I mean, hey, being able to disengage, you know, even though it's only for 0.75 seconds, being able to, like, dodge stuff is always useful. So, just for that, I think this item has viability. And to be fair, this is every 3 seconds, so dealing 200 damage every 3 seconds is pretty legit. Even though it's late game, you know? Trickster's Cloak. Grants 20% evasion, 20% magic resist, so it makes you really tanky. This is really good if you need some tankiness, and you can activate it to become invisible, so yeah, it just makes you really hard to kill. Magic Lance out, Shaco out, Knife out, Havoc Hammer out. Not gonna lie, these were probably my 4 least favorite items, so very cool. Telescope, we talked about this, oh, but it was buffed. Okay, but it doesn't affect non-player units, so I guess that's not good. Flicker, max blink range increased from 400 to 450, no longer cast 25 mana. So, yeah, I guess it's just better for repositioning, but it also can be worse, I guess. Spell Prism, cooldown reduced from 20% to 18. Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine. This is probably, like, the best tier 4 item in the game, in my opinion. Cooldown reduction in stats is just, like, just such a good item, you know? Like, no one hates having this item. It's just solid. Illusionist Cape. Illusionist bonus damage reduced from 10% to 8%. Alright, you know, it was probably... I really considered this also... Like, these two were probably my 2 favorite. In my opinion, probably the 2 strongest as well. New Giant Ring! Oh, 40 strength! Whoa! 60 movement speed. 60% model size. What? And can walk over any terrain. Oh, jeez. When standing on top of an enemy, 100 AoE, deal 100% of your strength per second. What the heck? Alright, I mean, hey, I guess, like, late game axe, you call them up, you're just gonna, like, clap them. It's a lot of damage. Book of Shadows. 12 all stats. Nice. 400 night vision. Target an enemy, ally, or self. Causes the target to be untargetable, but also silence, muted, and disarmed for 4 seconds. Alright. That's kind of weird. Applies a basic dispel. I guess it just takes people out of the game or something. Cycled out Woodland Striders and Trident. Balance changes. Ballista. Damage increased. It's not like anyone ever uses these items, but sure. Once again, I feel like they should just change it to minute 50. I've said this a million times, but you use these in like 1% of games, but I guess that's the point. They're supposed to be cool. The damage increased from 40 to 50, sure. Ex Machina. Alright. I mean, I guess that's a big buff, you know, 15 seconds less. Seer Stone now is an active that reveals the target 800 area of the map for 5 seconds. Whoa, that's a huge buff. I feel like this item is already good. Why did it need that? You can just reveal anywhere on the map. It is late game vision. That seems pretty strong. Force Boots now a unit target ability and a 750 cast range. Okay. Push range increased, cooldown reduced. Nice. Book of the Dead, bonus health increased. Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot of bonus health. Alright, that's pretty strong. Mirror Shield, stats reduced. Sure, probably one of the best items, or the best. Stygian Desolator, attack damage reduced. And, oh yeah, we got some general changes, and that's gonna be all! Oh my god! I'm done reading this patch! You know, I am super pumped for the patch, but obviously, whew, the amount of water I've drank in this period of time is ungodly.